From inside the Student Center on the campus of Golden West College, it's the Chronic Tacos Rustlers Review, brought to you by Chronic Tacos Terra, located in Huntington Beach inside the Terra Shopping Center. Wake up early, treat yourself to a hearty breakfast burrito, or if you're trying to watch the carbs, get yours in a bowl with the Breakfast Burrito, made fresh with your choice of chorizo, bacon, machaca, or veggie. Chronic Tacos open Sunday through Thursday, 8:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. or 8:30 to 9:30 on the weekends. Located, of course, inside the Terra Shopping Center, 7621 Edinger Avenue, or by phone 714-890-6100. That's Chronic Tacos Huntington Beach at Terra. Make sure you visit today. Rahshaun Haylock, the voice of the Rustlers, alongside longtime head coach. I can say longtime head coach now because as you're getting into that second decade, Coach Mitchell. Yeah. Tough one, extremely tough one on Saturday. It was at home, of course. Two Cerritos, 7-3, just a gritty nail biter. I mean, two defenses that really didn't want to budge or give up much of anything. I misspoke. If you were listening to the broadcast on Saturday, I mentioned this is a team that's only given up 17 points per game. Those are through 3 games. It's now just 12 points per game this team has given up, which is the best in the national division. And so there's a lot you can take from that. But, Coach, you look at the record, you're just 1-3. That's got to be tough considering you got the best scoring defense in the entire Southern California.
Yeah, it's really a matter of getting all 3 phases up to speed. The special teams, the offense, along with the defense. Defense obviously playing pretty well right now. Offense, had some key injuries. First game back for Adam Vance, getting him going again. Zamari Manning's still out, starting wide receiver, probably our best offensive player. Has been out since the first half of game 1. Gabriel Ford, our starting tailback, out this week against Cerritos. So we're definitely not firing on all cylinders, but we still obviously need to get far more than what we are getting out of them. And that starts with us, with the coaching staff, first and foremost, of being more demanding, getting them playing at a higher level Monday through Friday so that we get more out of them on Saturdays.
You look at this defense, it was a very opportunistic bunch last year. I like to call last year the year of the interception. It seems like you guys are just picking off passes left and right. This team not creating as many turnovers, but still the scoring defense, as I mentioned, is there, just 12.8 points per game. You guys are giving up as a team so far this season. How do you keep the morale of those guys up when, you look at a game last week, 1 penalty, 1 mistake, which ended up being 7 points. But, pretty much flawless beside that. How do you keep those guys up? How do you keep the morale up on that side of the locker room?
Well, the defensive side, I think that they're excited about playing really good defense, and they know they're playing really good right now. And even with, the 1 touchdown that they did score was our starting corner. Jason Thomas was out. We had a freshman in there, Limbo Sutherland, who, is ready enough to get out there. But, our freshman kids are going to make mistakes, and that's kind of the situation on offense. There's a lot of freshmen out there right now. But as far as the defense goes, they like playing defense. They like flying around. They like trying to shut people down right now. So I think just the fact, we try to keep them thinking of, not the big picture, but more of the small pictures. Hey, it's just, one, obviously, same old, 1 play at a time, 1 game at a time, 1 series at a time. To try to be really good, to be great on defense. And that's really the focus for them. It's not so much the wins and losses. Obviously, that's huge. Every game matters. We only play 10. It's very frustrating at times. But there is, at least on the defensive side, there is a brighter side to just the loss or record. And that's, being the number 1 scoring defense in Southern California in the national division and all. The offensive side, it's far tougher to keep them focused because not only are you not winning, but you're also not playing well. And so we deal with that. I deal with that a lot individually with players. We have young, we have some 17-year-olds. We got a lot of 18-year-olds, some 19-year-olds. They all handle it differently. They all have their own way of dealing with really the frustration and the pain, the sting of losing. And but we generally have a good group of kids on our team, so they understand that we are young. They understand that we have to play better. They understand that we need to execute at a far higher rate, and that we're still trying to get some key guys back, and that we will continue to get better as long as they keep their nose to the grind. It's been a good first half of the season against as far as quality opponents. Better than what we played last year in the preseason. So, they understand it is what it is. We have to do our part to get better as a team, and not just offense but defense, and especially special teams, because we played poorly 2 weeks ago at Chafee, special teams wise. We took good strides, I honestly believe, in both offense and special teams this past week. I thought defense continues to do what they do, try to get a little bit better defensively, but just the fact that we were able to, really night and day with the concentration and the focus that the offense had from the Chafee game to the Cerritos game, even though obviously we just scored the 3 points, and then the special teams as well. Again, night and day. We did not play well special teams wise. So we're going in the right direction. We're not scoring a lot of points right now, but I think we're on the cusp of doing some good things.
Let's talk about some of those bright spots on the defensive side of the ball. First, Manasseh Time. I remember we talked a little bit in the preseason, and you said this was somebody who you thought could have an impact on the defensive side of the ball this year. Maybe a little bit raw, but you thought that the skill set was certainly there. He certainly performed, one of the top tacklers in Southern California, averaging double-digit tackles per game this season, leading you guys in that area. What have you liked from him?
He plays so hard out there. Oftentimes, it's honestly like we have 12 players, because he can cover so much ground. He plays so hard. It's really just with him. He's still raw, but he's a smart football player. Very intelligent, has very good instincts. And he wants to fly around and make plays, and that's huge. He came as a defensive end type player from Edison High School, and so we've converted him not just to linebacker but to DB, to safety, just so he could I thought that he could be he would have been a really good linebacker, but me being also the defensive back coach and knowing how thin we were at the secondary, I wanted to try to at least give him a shot at safety. He really liked it. We really like him there because we can do a lot of different things with him. And he'll only get better too. It's his
That's
first.
2 levels. That's a rare jump.
Yeah.
Defensive end to the
Yep.
defensive backfield.
Yeah, and it was a good thing he had a full spring. He had a full summer, so he got a ton of reps doing it. But that doesn't necessarily equate, obviously, to the game time and putting on the pads and everything that goes on with a Saturday night. But he's played really well. He'll make some mistakes, but what I try to do is, with our defense this year, not that it wasn't like that before, but, really try to keep it simplistic, just let those guys play. And a lot of it is, making sure we don't confuse a couple kids, Manasseh being one of them. Not that he couldn't handle it, but just because he's so raw, we need to let him be able to fly around and not have to think too much. And that's kind of been what we've done for years is, we don't do a ton. We're doing more stuff now than we have, but it's pretty simple things and adjustments that he and everybody else out there could easily grasp.
And Manasseh Time, our Chronic Tacos Player of the Week, another double-digit effort as far as tackles go. 12 of those, 3 of those tackles were for loss. Also had a forced fumble in the game against Cerritos and a sack. So he was all over the place, flying all over the field. Let's go down to the next level. You got Joe Inda back last week. We're going to hear from Joe later on in this show. What was it like to get him back in the lineup?
Well, it's big to be able to get your middle linebacker back. He's really kind of the leader that sets the fronts, sets the linebacker, sets the strengths, makes the calls out there, and has been a physical and vocal leader. So he's done both. The fact that he's been in and out of the lineup, with the hamstring has really been difficult for us to juggle, who's going to, because we didn't At the time, we didn't have a true backup middle linebacker. So then we kind of take from one position, make that position weaker to make another position stronger, which generally you try not to do something like that. You want to just fill in with what you have. But we had a freshman behind him that we didn't feel was ready, so then we take Trevin Kahuna-Nui from the other backer spot, and then we'll make that one a little bit weaker, and then we have to back up, and so forth. We went with a bunch of different combinations, but now at least we don't have to do that. Trevin can just focus on the Sam backer. We don't have to worry about moving guys around anymore, because once we moved Trevin, then we had to move somebody else, and it became very frustrating for everyone because people are all of a sudden now trying to learn new positions, but that was what we felt we needed to do to keep the high level of play up. So with Joe coming back, obviously it takes that out of the equation, and guys can just line up and play as they have been for the most part. We've been without Kyle Manlingus, our starting Sam backer, for the whole season, and he will not, unfortunately, be back this year. So we're at a point now where we are established with the three linebackers and the backups. But even when Joe was out, we had some guys really step up. Trevin really stepped up at the Mike linebacker. Ray Sosini actually stepped up big time this past game, and a little bit at the Chafee game as well. But, he was a guy that we didn't feel was quite ready to step in at the Mike backer initially, which is why we moved Kahuna-Nui over. But really played well this past Saturday when we did, because we tried to keep Trevin just at the Sam backer, brought Ray in to spell Joseph, and played really well for us.
And to your point, I thought the linebacking core as a whole is probably one of their best games so far this season, just from my vantage point up there in the booth. I mean, you had Trevin, who coincidentally is a backup at every single linebacker position. He really was able just to focus in on a Sam spot. You had Hunter over on the other side doing his thing, and then, of course, Joe in there stabilizing everything. Those guys really look good. They're able to fly around and make some plays against Cerritos on Saturday. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about this defense bending. I saw it a lot in the Riverside game. We've seen it throughout the year. My partner Andrew King, who I call the games with on Saturdays, he likes to say bend but don't break. There were plenty of opportunities even Riverside had. Once they got the ball into your territory, they were able to get some yards, but you kept them out. You kept them out of the end zone. You kept them from putting up big point totals. How much is it? Is it really, bend but don't break sort of philosophy, or is that just kind of this defense just kind of stepping up, with their back against the wall and getting those stops that they need?
Well, I believe that we can do everything we need to do out of our base front and coverage. We're an over defense out of a quarters coverage concept. We really have one call when it's just the base. And I feel that we can do everything that we need to do with that. As an offense goes and they start putting the drive together, I will pick and choose when I feel that we need to bring more pressure to try to change it up. But I won't do it just to do it. I like to run our base stuff, so if they get, a few yards here, a few yards there, maybe, a first down, maybe even a second first down. I mean, we're always trying to get them 3 and out initially. They get that first down, I will kind of maybe still hold off a little bit, say, okay, they got one, but let's see if they can get a second one. If they get a second one, then we might have to start thinking a little differently. But we are changing up through each series as well, especially on the third down situation. We'll try to bring some heat. As long as it's a third and medium to third and long, kind of greater than 5 to 6 yards or greater, we're going to switch the whole defense up. We'll bring in our odd front, our multiple dime package, DB package, and we're going to bring heat, from the field, from the boundaries, strong side, weak side, whatever. But we're generally going to blitz out of a cover 3 shell, so it's not going to be super tight man coverage. But I just kind of like with the team and the defense that we have, and I feel better doing more of the zone pressures. So there is a little, with the zone pressures, there's a little more bend, I guess you could say, because it's not tight man as you're bringing the heat, so to speak. But it's worked out well for us. And so you could definitely say we're kind of a bend don't break, but it's not like it has been in past. In the past, we would sit in cover 2 or at least a half cover 2 shell, 90% of the game, and we were super bend don't break. We're not nearly as much as that this year, but we're going to try to stay in our base over quarters as much as possible until we really feel like we have to make a change up. Once they start getting down, near our red zone, 30-yard line plus, we're going to have to make some things happen at that point in time. So we'll be far more aggressive with the calls once they get inside there. But up to that point in time, I have full confidence that they may get a first down or two, but that they're not going to sustain the drive. So I generally will not get out of our base too early.
I want to circle back to special teams. You mentioned that a little bit earlier, and that takes us to Quentin Conaway. He actually had our fresh take of the week, Quentin Conaway, with the 47-yard field goal, the Chronic Tacos fresh take of the week. You mentioned, you've been telling me for a long time, he's got a ton of leg. Mm-hmm. He showed it there, and you gave him the opportunity from 47. That was a big-time field goal, gave you guys the lead towards the end of the first half. Tell me about your mindset, that I guess the talk that you had with him prior to the game, just in terms of getting a comfort level from him and where he was, comfortable going on Saturday night.
Yeah, Quentin is he's got a ton of talent. It's a consistency issue with him. And so we're always, not quite sure, how consistent he'll be at any given day of practice or even in the game until, we kind of get going out there. But he was lights out this past Saturday. Was good on everything except for one kickoff that he, was supposed to be to the left, which he kicked to the right. But other than that, his punting was excellent. We had one pooch sky kick that was perfect, that we almost recovered.
Almost, yeah, on the sideline.
Yeah, that would have been huge. And he's just, the 47-yarder probably should have went for it the first time we went for it on fourth down. But he felt good pregame, was kicking well pregame. Generally talk to him, kind of get an idea what they feel good from. And you can kind of get a sense how they hesitate a little bit, say, well, what are you good from, just to get an idea of how far they feel they can kick field goals. He was strong. There wasn't any hesitation. He was like, 37, coach. So, I felt good about where he was at from the talk. So he's going to get his opportunities because he has the leg. And Saturday he showed the consistency as well.
Now it's on to Long Beach. Rustlers will travel to the Veteran Stadium out in the LBC on Saturday night, 6 p.m. Of course, we'll have that for you right here on SportsNetUSA.net. This is the Long Beach City team that is the #1 offense in Southern California. They're averaging over 500 yards per game on the offensive side of the ball. You played against some tough offenses, but this may be the stiffest test you faced so far this season. Maybe the stiffest test you'll face the entire season, facing this Vikings offense. I asked you about morale earlier with the defense. I guess that probably won't play a factor this week, knowing you're going against the #1 offense in SoCal, right?
They'll be excited, I believe. We'll have them fired up and ready to go. We need a good week of practice. It's probably the best offense out there. Very talented, a lot of talent at the tailback spot, at the quarterback spot, at the receiver spot. They're as talented as anybody, and probably more talented than anybody else out there. We haven't played Mount Sac, but we've played Riverside. We've seen Fullerton. Probably the most talented, without a doubt. So we have our work cut out for us, but that's part of the challenge. You're playing well. It's not like we have to try to get them to play well right now. They are playing well. Our job is, to continue keeping them playing well and to continue to make strides week in and week out. We're going to need to make some strides this week against a really good team. Excellent bounce-back quarterback, big-time receivers. Both of their running backs are studs. So it's going to be a great challenge for us. But, we need to have a good week of practice, and I think that the boys will be up for it. But it's a long week, and there's a lot of things we have to figure out how to stop them. But we're starting to get a good grasp of what they're doing and all. And so now it's just a matter of implementing the game plan, Which from week to week, it's always subtle tweaks with what we do. But implement that game plan and get the guys understanding it, taking it in, knowing it like the back of their hand, so they're not thinking or hesitating out there. And then by hopefully, Thursday, we're pretty locked in with what we're going to be doing.
And for all the talk about their offense, defensively, they're not too shabby either.
They're good. They're really big up front. They're athletic at the linebacker spots. They're athletic in the secondary. They got a good, strong secondary. They're always very talented. They've got a very good recruiting area. We recruit against them every year. They do a good job recruiting, and they do a good job of coaching their kids and getting a lot out of them. Our offense, obviously, with the struggles that we've had and the youth and all, and the guys out, hopefully we'll be able to get Gabe Ford back. That will help. Although Levante Tolliver played pretty well for us, in a fill-in spot out there at the tailback spot, and then we'll also be able to get Desmond Bowden in some more, as he continues to come around. But having Vance back, will we get Zamari Manning? I don't know, but we'll know later in this week if we're going to have him probably for the rest of the year or not. They obviously will, of course, have their work cut out for them as well on the offensive side, because it's without a doubt it's going to be one of the better defenses that we've had, that we'll be playing against this year. But we have to have a good week of practice. And as I said, we made good strides last week, so we shall continue. I think, as long as we make some good strides, we've got some good offensive coaches. They'll figure out things that we can do, and then we just have to get our players to be able to execute it.
On to Long Beach, Rustlers, Long Beach, 6 p.m. on sportsnetusa.net. Saturday, we'll have that one for you. Thanks so much for stopping by, Coach, as you always do. Head Coach Nick Mitchell. We'll step aside. Big Joe Inda, Mike Linebacker, going to join us right after this. This is the Chronic Tacos Rustlers Review on sportsnetusa.net.
It's Taco Tuesday. Chronic Tacos, Bella Terra in Huntington Beach. $1.99 get you a monster taco. Do not forget the Baja sauce. You're going to love it.
Welcome back inside the Student Center. It's the Chronic Tacos Rustlers Review, brought to you by Chronic Tacos, Huntington Beach, Bella Terra. Now, it's Tuesday. Tuesday is for tacos. They got some Taco Tuesday specials for you right down the street at Chronic Tacos, Huntington Beach. Chicken, chorizo, whatever you want. They even got the beer batter, fish, and shrimp. These huge, delicious tacos for you. Don't forget to try the Baja sauce. Make sure you tell them that the fine folks at sportsnetusa.net sent you. Chronic Tacos, Huntington Beach at Bella Terra, right next to the Corner Bakery Cafe. 714-890-6100. 714-890-6100. And the address 7621 Edinger Avenue in the beautiful city of Huntington Beach. Rahshaun Haylock. This is the big man, the man in the middle, number 7, Joe Inda, the Mike linebacker. Joe, thanks so much for stopping by and joining us here today. You missed a little bit of time with the hamstring. You were able to get back into the fold on last Saturday against Cerritos. How did it feel just being back in the action?
It felt good. It's always tough to be away from the guys, but obviously being back in the mix, helping them just be together as one defense. I mean, that was a big key to middle linebacker. You're supposed to hold the defense together, and just being back with the guys felt really good.
What's your biggest responsibility? I know you got a lot of responsibilities as the middle linebacker, but what's the thing that you hold maybe at the top?
Just knowing everybody's assignment, making sure everybody's doing their job, keeping them composed. Obviously, from a linebacker, it's filling the gaps, make sure you hit them hard, make sure you make the tackles, make sure the D linemen are aligned properly. If not, then you just got to hit them over to their correct gaps. But the biggest probably is just controlling the defense, calling out the strong side, and just filling the gaps. Yeah.
How much are you talking out there? And you get the call from the sideline, obviously, and then you see them line up, and it's just, I mean, you're just getting after it from a communication standpoint. Like, how much are you actually communicating out there? Take us inside the huddle, if you will.
Okay, so I call the play. I call the strong side. And based on the film that the team is showing, I call what the play is going to be or what I think it's going to be. One of the plays against Cerritos that we had, I pointed out the outside zone, and that's exactly what they ran. So kind of giving the guys like a little idea of what's coming, and then but just pepping them up, saying that we got this. We think we're the best team, best defense in the state. So I mean, we just hype them up like that and keep them controlled and let them play.
You only gave up 7 points on Saturday, and you lost. And I know that's got to be tough. Is it one of those things where it keeps you up at night and you're like, man, we lost this game? Or as a defensive unit, are you saying, I mean, what more can we do?
As a defensive unit, what I try to tell the guys is that let's just continue doing what we do. Let's keep playing hard football. Eventually, our offense is going to come around, and they're going to hit it big. But until then, I keep telling the guys. Obviously, it's pretty frustrating, but I keep telling the guys that just keep your head on straight. Let's just keep grinding, and let's do the best we can for the team, and then just hope the offense is going to show. It's going to come one of these days.
How important is it to not create a divide in the locker room? Because you see stories like that even at the NFL level, offense and defense bickering, we're doing our job, you guys do your job, or we got our thing, you guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things of that nature. Like, as one of the leaders on this team, how important is it to make sure you guys don't go that route, don't go that direction?
The offensive guys come up to me, say like, I'm sorry about that, like, you guys did your stuff. I just come up, we have to stay as one team, and that's how we're going to make it far in the conference and hopefully the playoffs. We got to stay one team because we know the capabilities of our offense. Obviously, we know that Zamar Manning's down, Gabe was down last game as well. So having them back potentially this upcoming week is going to be huge, and so just we got to keep faith and then keep being just one family. And that's the only thing we can do right now.
All right, you ready to have some fun?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, here we go. This is our 1st and 10 segment that we do here on the Rustlers Review each and every week. I'm going to throw you 10 questions, not necessarily football related, and you just give me the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay, sweet.
Nickname.
They call me Trenta Joe. I work at Starbucks. I worked at Starbucks for like 2 years, and so then the biggest cup they have is Trenta, so they call me Trenta Joe.
That is awesome.
So.
I love that. Your teammates call you that?
Some of them caught on. Just linebackers predominantly call me that, so it's pretty funny like that.
That is awesome. Hobbies.
I like hanging out with family, playing video games. So family's a big thing, so playing video games is my next big thing, so doing that together is what I like to do most of the time.
2K, Madden?
No, we actually we play like this race car soccer game. It's pretty weird. I don't know what it's called at the moment, but we just I don't know. 2K Madden. I can't really play the new Madden. I'm not very good at that one. But taking me back to like Madden 2007, I was pretty good.
Okay, yeah, you sound like me. Yeah, like back in back in the day, Madden, I was okay. Late night snack.
I'd have to go with what Gabe Ford said with the Oreos.
Really?
Yes. That's a must, especially with milk dipped in.
Sheldon White said that too.
Oh, he did.
Yes. That's crazy. Favorite meal?
You talking about like breakfast, or are you talking about like more of like
anything? Breakfast, dinner, whatever your favorite meal is.
I like steak and eggs. Steak and eggs will always be the top on my list.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, steak and eggs. Favorite team, any sport?
I really like the Oakland Raiders because of their defense. I'm a bandwagoner based on defenses, so the Oakland Raiders are pretty up there on my list.
Khalil Mack fan, I'd imagine.
Yeah, for sure. Then Bruce Irvin, and then all of that team is pretty good.
Yeah, they cleaned things up last week. That first week wasn't looking too good. They were giving up 500-plus yards a game those first two games. Favorite movie?
Good Will Hunting.
Okay.
This is a great movie all around.
I haven't seen that one, but I heard it's a really good one. Your uniform number 7.
Number 7. Have you heard of Vontaze Burfict?
Of course I've heard of Vontaze Burfict.
I was at Corona Centennial my sophomore and junior year, and then they made a huge deal about Vontaze Burfict and him playing at ASU, then the Bengals. So I mean, that's if I can play like that, obviously that's the goal.
That's not a bad. It's not a bad player to emulate. I know he gets. I'm a Vontaze apologist, so I know he gets kind of ridiculed for some of the antics and everything. But I mean, the guy can flat out play football when he's motivated. I'll tell you a quick story. I was covering a game. It was state championship game it was then the Home Depot Center, now on StubHub Center. Vontaze I've been to tons of high school games. He was the only guy that I've ever seen play that I was literally on the sideline afraid for myself and everybody else, because he was going sideline to sideline and just screaming people, and then just this loud just shout and hollering. I was like, oh my God, like he scared the heck out of me. I was like, oh wow, I cannot be out there carrying the ball against this guy. He was one intimidating guy.
Yeah, definitely.
Best sports memory.
I don't know if it's one of the best ones, but it's a funny one. I remember I was in Little League, and then I got a triple. So it's a sixth inning. It goes to 6 innings, bottom of the 6th. And I had to go to the bathroom really bad. So the one memory that pops up was me peeing on the base. It was going down my leg all the way to the base. We ended up winning that game. That's why it was one of the best ones. It was a huge game for us. So.
we don't condone. How old were you?
I was probably like 11. 10.
We don't condone that. You look at the schedule, what's the team you get the most excited to play?
I have to say, obviously one game at a time, but if I have to pick one, I'd probably say Fullerton, just because I was there before.
You went there, yeah.
So it's going to be fun, definitely.
Celebrity crush?
I want to say Mila Kunis.
Mila Kunis.
She has it all. She's adorable.
Okay, nice. Somebody, I forget who said it. One of your other teammates said that. It wasn't Gabe. I don't think it was Sheldon. I forget who it was at the moment, but somebody else said Mila Kunis.
Was it Hunter?
It might have been Hunter. Cool. Yeah, I think it was Hunter. Yeah,
we've had the conversation before.
Your linebackers think alike, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. On the Long Beach, they're 500 yards a game offensively. This is going to be the toughest test for you guys so far this season. You pop in the tape. What do you see on film? What sticks out to you?
A lot of zone. They predominantly run zone, so no powers, no counters really. They also have the zone option pass, is when they're running zone, the quarterback keeps it, then decides to throw the ball downfield. I saw a lot of that. So I mean, just pretty much zone is going to be the biggest thing we're going to have to stop on the linebacker side, and just hope our secondary could stay with the passing game, which I'm sure they can. I'm sure they will.
There's the Long Beach team that sort of had its way a couple years ago with Golden West in a bowl game, and I'm sure some of those old feelings are starting to fester around these parts. So we'll see. It'll be the Vikings and the Rustlers, 6 p.m. on Saturday, and of course we'll have it for you right here on sportsnetusa.net. After that, the Rustlers will enter a bye week, so it'll be a bye for us. We'll take a bye with them, so no Rustlers review next week. We'll return the following Tuesday in preparation for Saddleback Week. For all the fine folks here inside the Student Center, also the nice folks at TSS here on the campus of Golden West, and a special thanks to the fine folks that work inside here in the Student Center, as well as the athletic department. Also for Van Vu, our photographer, and Mr. Ed Ford, our operations manager. I'm Rahshaun Haylock saying thank you so much for tuning in and joining us here on this Tuesday for another edition of the Rustlers Review. Special guest to our head coach, Nick Mitchell, as always, for joining us, and Big Joe Inda, the big Mike linebacker, joining us here today. Make sure you check us out Saturday night, 6 p.m., Rustlers and Vikings, 6 p.m. on sportsnetusa.net. For all of us here at sportsnetusa.net, I'm Rahshaun Haylock saying thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. You've been tuning in to the Chronic Tacos Rustlers Review, brought to you by Chronic Tacos Huntington Beach at Bella Terra.
Hey guys, welcome to Chronic Tacos in Bella Terra, Huntington Beach. My name's Caleb Walker. I'm the owner and operator. Chronic Tacos has been around for 14 years. We have over 40 locations across the nation. We're known for our excellent customer service, custom ordering, and fresh ingredients. Please come check us out. Thanks.